Hey guys, welcome back to 2017 Summer of Knives. So in my last segment I spoke about the belt knife. The belt knife is something that's wieldable, it's small enough to put on your belt, it's not obtrusive, it's not too heavy. Something that's more of a utility knife when you're out in the field or out in the bush. Those knives typically go from 4 inches to about 6 inches depending on your taste and like, and of course depending on your environment. This is the big blade section, alright? This is where the big boys are, and I know a lot of people have fantasies about going into the woods with a mini sword and fighting dinosaurs and Kodiak bears and all that great stuff, and it's fine. It's great. I love it too. I love that fantasy. However, just to bring you down to earth just a little bit, these are some of the knives that I have collected over the years. Now, I will say, like I said in the other video, that I have been in the mountains. I've been in an extreme cold weather environment where temperatures get down below zero, and I've also traveled to the desert, the real desert, and dealt with those temperatures there. I currently live on the Northeast, and I have over 10 years of military experience. Plus, I'm an avid hiker, hunter, and tracker. So, what I can tell you in my experiences being in all those environments is sometimes the big blade comes in extremely handy. Now, all of this is going to be subjective to my own likes and needs, and like I said, I've collected or amassed these knives throughout the years. It's not like I went to the store and purchased all these. Now, I am a knife maker, so if you are interested, please go to threeriverblades.com. I don't feel slighted in any way if you decide to go with these other manufacturers. The reason I went and purchased these myself is because I believe in the manufacturing that they do. So don't worry, there's no butt hurt here. If you feel that it's more in your budget range to not purchase a knife from me, that's fine. The only thing I ask is that you please just go up to the website, and if something tickles your fancy, drop me a line, drop me an email, let me know what you like, or purchase directly from the website. Okay, so when it comes to big blades, these knives can be pretty much used for a lot of different scenarios, so I don't want to go into all that. I do think, in my own opinion, that if you're talking about big blades, you're probably talking about something with a 7-inch blade all the way out to maybe a 12-inch or longer. Now, I think ideally a 8-inch to 10-inch is probably my ideal spot. That's kind of where I feel comfortable with it. I think in that scenario you can use it for chopping, processing wood. Obviously you can use it to defend yourself, but more than likely it's about processing, camp chores, that kind of thing. And I think a big blade does a lot of things that little blades can't do. Okay, so I'm a big fan of carrying a big blade when I go out into the field. Now, these aren't to be confused with machetes. Machetes are completely different, and I'll get into that when I do this segment on chopping and machetes. Okay, you can use these for batoning, obviously. What I like about these knives is that they're big enough and they're thick enough to do a lot of the chores that maybe your belt knife may not be able to do. You can skin game with these knives. It's a little bit more difficult because it makes you need probably a little bit more dexterity to do it. But these knives, big as they are, heavy, nice, hefty weight, and as long as you have a good sheath for it, you really can't go wrong. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to this. This is my knife. This is my custom-made knife. I call this the Wilderness Bowie. It is 3/16 inch thick. It is a very large blade. It's a 7-inch blade. Comes with a saber grind and any type of micarta handle or wood handle that you like. It's made out of 52-100 steel, carbon steel, which I'm a big fan of. It is not coated, but you can get it coated if you want. I do a bluing solution on these knives if you guys are worried about rust. Now, this is a custom-made sheath by Harper Leathers. He is my current leather working guy, so if you guys are interested in the leather sheath, please go up to my website, and on the suppliers tab you're going to see leather maker, and that's the guy, and you can contact him and he'll make you a really nice sheath. I typically make Kydex sheaths for all of my knives, but if you wanted something a little bit more woodsy or fancy, then you can go obviously with the leather sheath. Now, I took all the sheets off of these knives primarily because they're crap, but ideally they don't fit on the table. And what I mean by that, just grab a couple of these. What I mean by that is that a lot of the knives come with this Condor Sheath. Now this Condor Sheath is huge, it's floppy. It will stand up to some type of rain and a couple of things, but it's really, really big. And I don't like the large knives that come in this. I think it's a very cheap option. They buy them in bulk and they just fit them to the knives, and there's not a lot of retention there other than the strap. I make my own kydex mostly for my own knives, so you'll see that. Okay, so this is kydex, this is kind of what I make. And then some of them, which I think this is the Junglus, makes like a hybrid of Condora and kydex, which you can just take off. You can bolt it off and just use the kydex. Big fan of that. Now, leather, on the other hand, is awesome. It's outstanding. I like it, but you have to take care of it a lot. A lot of times before I even made my Wilderness Bowie, I was carrying this knife. This happens to be a Bark River. I think this is the Bravo series. Excellent knife. This is the middle one. They make a smaller one and a larger one, and ideally this is a nice size for me. It's about 3/16 inch thick. It does have a thumb ramp on it. Very comfortable handle. And I think, I don't know if they make these in 3V. This happens to be an A2. Excellent chunk of steel, and it came with a nice leather sheath made by Bark River. Now, I carry this a lot on my side, primarily when I said I'm going out into the field for a long time and I need something a little bit bigger. The heavier weight on these knives make it a lot easier for me to chop, to cut, that type of thing. This happens to be the Hoodlum. Alright, it's from Ron Hood. Ron Hood is no longer with us, but Buck Knives has made some of his designs, and they still are carrying on a tradition. His wife, Karen Hood, is still making knives and products and still runs the school. It's a survival school. I watched all his videos. I'm a huge fan. The only thing I don't like about this is this notch up here. There are plenty of videos about this knife. You can go take a look for yourself, and they probably are still making them. It's a 5160 carbon steel, very lightweight, and I like the long length and the fact that it is thinner and lighter than any of the knives here. Even though it has a I would say this is a 3/16 inch and then tapers all the way down. It's more like a rapier or a sword, to be honest with you. Nicer ergonomics on this knife. Like I said, the sheath is crap. You can make kydex sheaths for it. I did see videos where this notch has a failing and the knife and the whole tip broke off. I have not used this knife yet, so I really don't know. The Junglus, or Junglus, depending on who you are, is made by Essie. This is the Randall Adventure Training School, and I really like this knife. I've used this knife quite a bit, and let me see if I can find the sheath on this. Is probably one of the better sheaths that you can get. Alright, it has the retention. I put these rubber bands here because I could put like fire kit in there. It has a snap on it. It even has the hood, so if you wanted to pull it over the back of the handle so it won't fall out. This is a combination of chopper and machete, and I gotta tell you, if you were somewhere in like El Salvador or something like that, you would not go wrong with something like this. But being that I live in the Northeast, I really like something that's a little bit thicker than a machete because it works very well here with the heavy wooded area. Okay. You can also get the RTAC. I'm sorry I'm jumping around, but the RTAC 2 is very similar to this. Alright, very, very similar. Very large knives. Again, fits great in the hand. Like these, out of these two, these are excellent blades. They only run about $100. So if you're looking for a large blade budget option, these are excellent, excellent blades. Again, like I said, the only difference is that the sheath on the Junglus is a lot better, and the ergos are a little bit nicer, I should say. Alright. If you're looking for another budget option, this is great. This is the Gen 2 SP50, and it's made in the USA. Ontario Knife Company, OKC, makes a bunch of these. Now this happens to be the SP50. They make the SP43, they make a smaller size, but I think 5160 in the field as far as a small chopper, or maybe just something that you need that's a little bit bigger than your belt knife. You can't go wrong with this. Nice craton handle, has like the I want to say faux stacks, because these are not faux stacks, but I mean they're not real leather stacks, but the craton handle is extremely comfortable in your hand. Excellent blade. Another one from Ontario, this is the RD9. It's a little bit more robust. It comes with a clip point, like a Bowie session type of thing, a Bowie section I should say. Full flat grind. The handle is a little bit bulky. I would say a little squarish. I would like a little more round, which you can fix yourself. But overall, excellent knife if you're looking for a big knife. Now this one is one of my, believe it or not, sometimes the cheapest options are like one of your favorites. This is the Condor, I forget the name of it, but hold on one second, let me get the sheet for you. This is probably a very good budget option for you. This is not very expensive. It has a fake, or I should say faux handle. It's a plastic overmold kind of thing, and it comes in this nice Condor sheath. Of course, Condor makes excellent leather sheaths with a dangler. And I think I might have paid less than $100 for this. This might have been like $60, something like that. It does come with a Scandi grind, which I'm not a big fan of, but you could also reprofile that for the cost. But like I said, with the type of blade this is just a beater blade, and the handle is extremely comfortable. Comes with a landing loop. You can't beat that. Now, if you're looking for one of the faves, and I know someone's going to say, where's the Becker Bk9? This is it. I have the Becker Bk7 and a bunch of other knives that Becker makes. I think they are excellent. You could also get the handle scales replaced. The sheath, again, is like the one that I just showed you. Not a big fan of that sheath. A little bit thinner than 3/16. This is not exactly 3/16, but I know a lot of people that use this as their woods blade, their chopping blade, their overall blade, and I gotta tell you, it is an excellent knife. Okay, if you're looking to spend a little bit more money, not super expensive, you can definitely can't go wrong with the Becker Bk9. Excellent blade. The Swamp Rat is made by Boosie. It is the offshoot of Boosie. I think they, or Bussy, however you want to say it. It's like their sister company, but they use basically the same materials, just a little bit cheaper. And these are expensive knives. I'm not going to tell you they're not. The Swamp Rat line is a cheaper line than if you got the original Boosie knife. And this one is coated. This has that specialty steel that they use. The handle on here is crazy ergonomic. I don't know if you could see that. Alright, it has all kinds of funky handle holds and stuff like that, and I think ideally this is a excellent knife. I'm a big fan of this knife. The only thing is, it does anything that Boosie or Swamp Rat makes, their company line, they don't have any sheaths, so of course I made a Kydex sheath for it. So that's one of the things you're going to have to deal with. But the steel on this is excellent. I don't know, it's some type of mixture of carbon steel, and it's very, very strong. This is a 1/4 of an inch thick, so it's not a light knife and by any chance, but you would not go wrong carrying this in the field. Alright, I already went to the R-Tac. This, I gotta bring in Tops, of course. This is the Tops Armageddon. Now the Tops Armageddon is that sweet spot between, I think, small sword, bush knife, and a machete. It's huge. It's an excellent knife. This is a very large blade. It does have this sweeping belly at the end. The sheath, again, is the typical Tops whatever that crappy sheath is, which I'm not a big fan of in any way, but I like the different handle holds. So you have 2 finger grooves up here, you have one here, and then of course you have the pommel, which allows you to get a really nice sweep on that if you need to do some heavy duty work. Now, all the Tops knives are made of 1095, and of course they're coated, and you can see this has kind of a differential type of grind. So it starts off down here and then it just sweeps up to like a full flat grind at the end, and it does have a nice taper. You would not go wrong carrying this in the field. The only thing I would change is obviously the sheath is crap, so I would change that. Now the Steel Eagle, this is the 111A, it's probably been around for a long time. This would be primarily more of some type of crazy survival knife. This does happen to have the Tonto point, although you can get them with the regular belly. You don't have to get the Tonto. I've never used this before, but this is 1095 and it does have a long saw here, which supposedly works very, very well. Now this is a huge chunk of steel. There's nothing special about it. Again, it comes with that crappy top sheath, but I think ideally if you wanted something that you needed more of a survival saw plus a knife plus a machete, this is probably fit that bill very well. A couple other tops creations. I'm not going to go over them individual, but again, this was Hood's design. Again, Ron Hood designed these two knives. One, he really liked the Tanto tip for making drills into wood, and of course it comes with the traditional upsweep blade or belly blade, so you can get them in either one. I got both of them in either one. I think this is an ideal knife. I've seen in the videos where he's testing both of these knives, and I think this is the one that won out. And again, he has these little hooks or divots inside the blade, and I think that's the open in my opinion, I think what he was trying to do with that was either make, like on this one you could see it was drilled to make a notching, so you didn't have to use your blade tip, you could use this as notching. And also if you needed to pick up a hot pot inside of a fire, you could use your bail handle and pick it up and pull it out. Alright, so I mean I don't really know, I would never use it for that, but again, that's it. K-Bar makes a nice buoy. This one is typical K-Bar in the fact that this is the one that's produced in Taiwan, so it is not a very expensive knife. The sheath is probably one of the crappiest sheaths you get, but the handle is very comfortable. Again, if you're looking for something that's lightweight, not too expensive, this won't do too bad. The handle on here is very robust. I think this comes into a stick tang. This is not a full tang knife, which all these others pretty much are, except maybe the Condor and the OKC. But again, if you're looking for a cheap option, it's not bad. Now, one of my favorite knives to carry in the bush, and you can see it is well used, well worn. This is probably one of the first large fixed blade knives that I had. This is the Trailmaster made by Cold Steel, and as you can see, it is well oiled and it is well beat up. I must have beat this thing to death. You can see that the grind on here makes this a skinnier knife, because at one point I tried to make this a convex grind to, I don't know, give it a little bit more edge, but I mean this thing is still razor sharp, and it's made out of carbon steel, 1/4 inch thick. It's a beast. I do like the fact that it has a rubber handle with a guard, so it stops your hand from slipping forward. I mean, ideally, I know that these knives are made with the guard for some type of fighting knife, and you really can't go wrong with a knife like this for a fighting knife, but as a woods blade it works excellent as well. So I don't want you to pass that up just because you think it's a fighting knife. This is a great field woods knife, and I know a lot of people that carry these. Now this one happens to be extremely beat up because it is probably one of the knives that I carry the most when I'm not carrying my own knife, and it does extremely well. They're not too expensive. I think they're like $100, $150. Cold Steel makes them, and great piece of great blade right there. Alright guys, so I hope I gave you a little bit of insight. Now, I understand these videos can be a little bit long and you're probably tired of hearing me ramble. But I will say that I will continue to make these videos as long as you guys appreciate it. And as always, please go to threeriverblades.com. Check out all the great, fantastic custom-made knives I made up there. Take care of each other and stay safe. Thank you very much.